We were inside this week. I figured out how to get back into the house. It's weathering out there. I don't know if you can hear it. Probably not. This microphone picks up all the stuff I don't think it's going to pick up and none of the stuff I do think it's going to pick up. You may be able to hear the cockatoos who are having a lovely time in the weather. But it is raining, so I thought I'd be in here rather than out there. Now, last week I showed you what was on the loom, which was a scarf in Bendigo Woolen Mills Bloom in squares, and I finished that, so I've got that here. Oh. And I think it came out pretty well. Not, you know, perfect, but pretty well. I'll take pretty well. So that's quite a long bit of fluff. The wool, once it's wet finished, goes a bit sort of hairy, but that's quite a long bit. There we go. So the colour fades quite well, I think, along the stripes, along the length of the scarf. It's just over 2 metres long, so it's a good length for a scarf. So that is done, that is off the loom, that is wet finished. I've done a braided fringe, which I'm showing you really badly. There we go. Braided fringe. Look how harsh my light is. It's not my normal light. Well, it is my normal light, but it's not the light that... well, it's irrelevant. We're not going to discuss the light any further. It's not really any of your business. Now, so I'll roll this back up beautifully and professionally. If you store woven things rolled rather than folded, they don't get creases in them. A handy tip. I'm helpful. Now, we had quite a big storm event on Thursday night. And as a result, we lost power for 3 days. And it turns out that when I don't have access to the internet, I'm really productive. So once I'd taken this one off the loom, I immediately warped up this one, which is the same yarn, but in a different pattern. So that's in a stripe with the green borders. And I think that one came out lovely. So it's much the same, the whole length, but I'll show you the whole length just so that I can prove that there is like a whole scarf there. So I really, really like how that came out. I like how the colours shift in the middle there. And that is a twisted fringe, and I don't enjoy twisting fringe, but I love how it looks. So that's how that goes. I'll roll that one up off camera. So on the loom now, I have the yarn that I was talking about last week, which I said was going to be a nightmare to weave, and it's pleasingly not as bad as I was expecting. So we'll go and have a look at that, and then we'll come back here, and it's exciting for you. I'm pleased to report that this yarn is not as much of a nightmare to work with as I was expecting it to be. This is obviously a different colourway, but it's the same brand. Annette Erickson Frost, in it, which is a very soft metallic. This one's rainbow, so that's going to be spectacular when I work that up. And I'll just put that down while you look at how shiny this is. And the reason I thought it was going to be difficult to work with is because it is covered in, I don't know if you can see, this is just a little tangle from the warping ball. Can you see that? Can you see that at all? I might go handheld and we'll show you the yarn on the loom. We're going handheld, it's like I'm a documentary filmmaker. This is going to be found footage Blair Witch style, so we'll put the tripod over there. I'm not expecting to get Blair Witched in my own home, but you never know. So if you look closely, you might be able to see that there is a black fluff on the yarn, and that is a wool coating on a acrylic and polyamide, I think. But what that does is make the yarn very sticky, so it grabs onto itself. Now, what you want when you're weaving is a clean shed. So I don't think I can do that. Well, we'll try and do it one-handed. What could possibly go wrong? I'm putting up my heddle now. My heddle's going up. Oops, no, it's not. Yes, it is. So, in here, this gap here, oops, where's my finger? There's my finger. This gap here is called the shed, and that is where, we'll go to the other side because that's where I am. Come for a walk with me. So that's where the shuttle goes in to take the yarn through the weaving. So if you haven't got a clean shed, you can have trouble getting your shuttle through, and you'll end up with lumps and bumps and floats. So this sort of yarn tends to hang on to itself, so it'll hang on to the one next to it, like that. So instead of all the whole threads sitting up nicely and the slot threads going down, the slot thread might get pulled up, the whole thread might get stretched down or whatever. So it can be quite tricky. Now what I have done for this is used a larger heddle than I normally would, a larger dent heddle. Now, don't worry, I'm going to tell you what that means if you've never woven before. So this is a 5 dent heddle, and that means that there are 5 threads per inch, so it's quite widely spaced. Now, what I forgot to do is get my other heddle to show you. So let me just do a really fancy edit. Seamless and also magic. So this is the heddle that I would normally use for a yarn of this size. It's a 7.5, and as you can possibly see, it's a bit hard to show you because one of the heddles is in use. The yarn would be much closer together on this heddle, so it would be a lot more grabby, which is what I didn't want, because then I would have to say swear words, and that's very unladylike. So it is not as much of a nightmare to weave with as I was expecting. I'm bending over backwards to put the other heddle down on a chair. You didn't even notice. I'm smooth. And it is really, really beautifully shiny. I said it was pink last week. It is a bit pink, but it's also a bit purple and silver. So it's coming together quite nicely. I'll get some more light on there so we can see the shine a bit. And that is what is on my loom currently, and it's going quite well. It's just a plain weave, just to let the shiny colours do the shining. It's quite an open weave. I don't know if you can see my hand back there. Because of the wider head also, to get that balance, it's quite an open weave, which I think may help with drape as well. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm excited to finish it and get it off the loom. Okay, maybe it wasn't that exciting for you. The cross stitch. Progress was delayed somewhat by not having electricity, because I have an obnoxiously bright light to work this with because of the black fabric. So I have a white sheet on my lap, an obnoxiously bright light. I think they can probably see my house from space when I'm working on this cross stitch because of just the... That's not true. It's a very focused light, but it's good for dramatic effect. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to show you the cross stitch. So progress is probably not as... exciting as it would have been had I had electricity, and I haven't moved this down to show you the whole thing, so I'll do that now. Not that there's much to see at the top because I haven't done anything on the bodice. Just talk amongst yourselves while I get this organised. I'm trying not to show you the back, which is a mess. So that's where we're at with the cross stitch. So I've filled in her leg. I've been filling in some more up around here. Down here's been filled in. Now last week I actually remembered to take a photograph of this rather than use a screen grab to show you what it looked like last week. So we'll have a look at what it looked like last week in a photograph that I remembered to take. It's almost like I'm getting the hang of this. And here's how we're looking this week. Yes, progress very much slowed by not having electricity, but I'm catching up now. So that's where we're at with the cross stitch. It's coming along really well. I don't know which bit. There's bits up here that are like falling flowers and stuff, but I'm going to finish off down here and in here and over here, and I've got it all planned. I've still got until 2031 to finish this, so all good. So that's pretty much what I have for you this week. I've got 3 kilos of fabric coming because I have a problem where I go on eBay and buy people's fabric destashes if they're cheap, and this lot was pleasingly cheap, so I went, that's pleasingly cheap, I'll have it. I'll put that away so I look a bit more professional. That's not going to happen, is it? We all know. So that's coming, and that's all or mostly going to be Morse bags, because it is November where we're trying to make a lot of Morse bags for the month to give out. Ordinarily I'd be making one a day, but I've got the weaving on the sewing table, so what I need to do is get the sewing on the weaving table. It'll sort out, but once that comes, there'll be a video made about Morse bags, because they have taken over my life in a good way, in like a good, fun, positive way. But it is probably about time that I did talk about them at length, at tedious length probably. But that's it. I keep looking out the window because it's raining and it's very pretty out there, so I'm just going to do that again. There we go. Oh, a car went past. It's exciting. It's exciting. Lockdown's finished. People keep driving past. It's like a whole new world. Actually, I haven't had too much coffee. I've only had 2 cups. So I don't know what to blame that on. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you made it to this bit, I don't know, a gold star for you. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. Do all that YouTube stuff. And I will see you next week with more stuff. Or, well, hopefully that thing on the loom will be off the loom and I can hold it up and go, look how shiny. And I will do it exactly like that. Okay, you have a lovely rest of your week. Take care, and I will see you soon.